And welcome back to Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, everyone. It is the women's bronze medal match of this FIVB Beach Volleyball World Tour stop. A three-star competition here in the City of Champions. We're getting set for this one between Team Japan, Akiko Hasegawa and Azusa Futami, and Nicole Laird and Bakara Palmer of Australia. My name is Grayson Knutson. Pleased to be joined in the broadcast booth by Everett Delorme. Our officials for this match from Edmonton right here, Jason Boyko, and we also have from the United States, Suzanne Lowry. She will be on the sand. Everett, these two duos have played a lot of volleyball. They've each only played 5 matches prior to this one, but a lot of three-setters for these two pairs. How much of stamina comes into play when you come into a bronze medal game like this one?
You know what? It's been a long week. It's been a long season, and we've had so many different elements. So it's really going to be, we saw how tired the Italians looked in the last match, and they didn't play as many three-setters as this team. So especially in these elements, it's really going to be who can push through that pain and push through the fatigue to be able to pull out a bronze medal performance.
Both these teams were 4-0 until they reached the semifinals. The Australian pair lost to Emily Day and Betsy Flint of the United States, while Hasegawa and Futami of Japan lost to Pavan and Melissa of Canada, and those two will play in the gold medal match a little bit later on. This bronze medal game, though, is underway with the serve from Akiko Hasegawa. First point of the game is going to go to Australia, as that one went off the hands and out of bounds for a point.
Absolutely. And you know what? Last night, I was a little disappointed in Australia's play in their semifinal against the United States, whereas I thought Japan had a really, really strong match against the Canadians. So, you know what? I'm almost expecting to see that reverse. I'm expecting to see Australia bounce back strong, and I'm really interested to see how Japan plays, especially early on here, because usually when you give your all in a match like that and you don't win it, there's a bit of a letdown the next day.
Some errors early on, the story of this game here. Back-to-back service errors. Serving now is Nicole Laird. Born in Sydney, now resides in Adelaide, Australia. Tommy goes up, pokes it over. And that one is going to be a point for Australia. Futami's pointing, looking for, I don't know, maybe a double contact or something. I'm not sure what she's arguing about.
A 4 contact, but I think they're the only ones on the court who are seeing that right now.
And that serve is going to go into the net from the Australian pair. So, again, some slow starts on the service game for both these two teams. Hasegawa will go back to serve for Japan. This is their 28th World Tour event together. They formed the team in 2017. I would imagine they formed with an eye on next summer's Olympics, and that's a really nice pokey there from Hasegawa to get it over the block and down.
Yeah, just pokes it over her left shoulder there, over the block of Laird. And Nikki Palmer, who was on the other side of the court, was nowhere near to dig that one.
Another serve here from Hasegawa, and again, a mistake from the line. We're going to switch sides here, 4-3 Australia in front.
Already we've seen more errors from the Japanese than we did last night, right? So that's exactly what I was talking about, where, when you empty the tank on Saturday night, it's really hard to get going on Sunday afternoon.
Serve from Palmer. Futami, a little bit of a hand there from Laird, but couldn't keep it in play, out of bounds, point for Japan. Japanese team, their best finish was at an event in 2017. They finished second. That's a good play right there from Laird. Palmer, a long set to set her up. Of course, this Australian pair fairly new to each other. This is only their 9th event, but they did win in Sydney on home sand, so a very exciting moment for them to pick up that 3-star title. Hasegawa just, I'm not sure what happened there. She just kind of missed that ball.
Yeah, you know, we're seeing it early real here that, you know, I think 4 of the 6 Australian points so far have come off of Japanese errors.
That one just gets over. Long run for Hasegawa. Well played. Futami pokes it deep. And it is out. Was there a touch, though? Yes, there was. It is a point for Japan. Diving back to try to get that one was Palmer, and she did get a piece of it. Currently 24 degrees Celsius here in Edmonton. Feels like 27. Mostly sunny. A few clouds starting to roll in. Shouldn't be too much of a problem, though, as Australia gets the point off the block there. Winds out of the south-southeast at 22 kilometers an hour. And here you can tell they're almost swirling. We've seen them change maybe a couple of times.
Definitely been coming in and out, especially throughout that men's bronze medal match.
That's another error from the service line. That one from Bakara Palmer, 7-6. The Aussies still hold the lead, though.
Errors on both sides of the court right now, as both teams are just trying to find their game.
That was a hand change there from Laird. That was really clever there to go with the left.
Yeah, absolutely.
And go down the line.
That's an outside set there by Bakara Palmer, and Nikki Laird creates the space for herself. You know, if she swung with her right there, she'd be swinging right into the block of Futami, but instead she lets that ball drift to the outside a little bit and cuts it down the line with her left. That's a very athletic play.
So it's 8-6 Australia. The two teams have changed sides once again. That is the serve from Laird. Hasegawa pokies it over. It's off the net, and Palmer did really well there to keep it in play. Futami goes up and pokes it where there are no Australian players. However, she poked it long. The linesperson had the flag up, but it's an overrule here from our head official, Jason Boyko. You don't see a lot of argument either from the Australians, so.
No.
Hasegawa serve. Just got over. A little bit of trouble here for Australia, but it actually works out quite nicely as Laird puts that one away.
Haven't seen much of an aggressive game just yet. Just a lot of errors and a lot of placing the ball.
9-7 Australia. This is Bakara Palmer. Futami goes up as both players peel off, and that one finds the back line. Futami splitting the difference and clipping the blue tape. There is Futami. She's from Kanagawa, Japan. Just got it over. Battle at the net. Still alive on the Japanese side. Futami had to 360 spin that one. That's an athletic play from Azusa Futami.
Futami does a great job there of spotting that ball, turning around, and then just getting over top of it and putting it down, as there was no blocker in front of her.
Again, she goes for that really short serve. It has caused the Australians a little bit of trouble, and once again, they're going to win a point. The Japanese are, and they're back in front now.
Yeah, tough pass there by Palmer. And she's unable to get it over, as that set was not getting to the outside where she wanted it to be. We're seeing right now that in system, the Aussies are really liking to push it to the outside, but in the middle of the court, they're not having that much success, as Futami shuts the door on Palmer that time again.
Once again, a really nice run of points here for Japan. 11-9 is the score. They have the lead. A little bit deeper from Futami, and maybe a little bit easier for the Australians to handle as Bakara Palmer puts that one away, cutting that one over top of the block.
You can see Futami, she was reaching into that line so that they couldn't use that space down here, but Palmer, real good vision to see that, and then just chips it over on the cross.
Technical timeout here, 11-10, Japan in front. A fairly back and forth match. We saw the Australians go on a run to get a lead. Japan made a run of their own to take it back, and at the end of the day, it's fairly even, or as even as you can be at the technical timeout.
Absolutely. Just a 1-point advantage right now for the Japanese pair.
B team trying to get the crowd pumped up here, seeing who's cheering for who. It seems to be pretty much a 50-50 split here, which here at an event in Canada, I think if a bunch of people cheered for one team, I think the others would just cheer for the other out of principle, make them feel better about themselves. So
until the Canadians are on the court.
I was going to say until the next two games, and then it's going to be pretty much one-way traffic.
Yeah.
As we have a Canadian pair in both the men's and women's gold medal games, and those are coming up at 3 and 4 o'clock Mountain Time, respectively. Hasegawa, good swing to split the seam, and Palmer's unable to reel it in.
Great shot there by Hasegawa, just going underneath of the block of Laird. Palmer was still in movement.
Palmer battling there with Futami, and Futami's just going to win that one.
Futami's been really active up at the net so far in this set. Not something we saw a lot from her last night, but when you're playing against Sarah and Mel, it's going to be a little bit more difficult.
13-10 Japan in front here as Hasegawa serves. Peeling off the net there for the Japanese players, and Palmer actually got a fortunate bounce off the tape to change directions on that ball. Palmer puts it in play, and Futami, smart placement there, saw that Palmer was cutting across to cover the line shot. Another serve from Futami, has a little bit of a unique serving style. Palmer's gonna slice that one cross court. Picks up a point. 14-12, Japan still in front here.
That's basically been the Aussie game so far. Get the ball out to the pin, especially when Palmer's out there. Get the ball out to the pin. And it's either you're going to go down the line or you're going to go cross court when they dive into the line.
Chance for Australia here with Palmer. Maybe the first real big swing we've seen from Australia, and Bakara Palmer picks up a point.
Yeah, you know, we've seen that difference in set too. Instead of pushing it out to the pin, as Nikki Laird's been doing so far, she just chucks her up in the middle. Nice meter ball, and Palmer goes to town on it.
Laird serving, it's out of bounds, so Japan is up 15-13, and it's another switch of sides here in Edmonton. I know this event was hampered a little bit by the weather early on, but the last couple of days have just been absolutely perfect for some beach volleyball, and the folks are turning out. They're probably just excited to maybe get their first tan of the summer. It hasn't been a very good one here so far in northern Alberta.
Great touch there by Futami.
Little pokey is kept alive. Palmer tried to cut that one just a little bit too sharp with the angle. It's out of bounds, another point for Japan.
Futami's block there was absolutely perfect, as not only did she slow the ball down and get a touch on it, but she was able also to direct it right to Hasegawa, who was able to put her up.
16-13 the score for Japan. Australia has called a timeout, starting to get to that point in the set where you've got to pull back and not let the other team get too far in front of you. You're running out of points to just give up. Australia will have to find a way to steal one or two here.
You know, and it's funny because it seemed to me like Australia has been playing pretty well, but they still find themselves in that 3-point deficit, and Japan has really gotten things together after a slow start to the set.
Japanese duo came into this event, the 13th seed. The Australians were seeded number 11th heading into this tournament.
Let's welcome these two teams back out on the courts.
Two teams coming back onto the sand now. And it will be Akiko Hasegawa serving. Born in Tokyo, still calls the Japanese capital her home. Little tip there from Palmer, and taking that second time was Hasegawa, but it just didn't quite get over the net for her.
Such a good opportunity there for the Japanese to increase this lead just a little bit more, and when you have opportunities to steal like that, you have to take them, or else you're just giving daylight to the opposition.
Long run for Futami, pops it up for Hasegawa. Nifty little pokey there, just change things up. 17-14, Japan in front, and they'll be quite content just to trade points here for the remainder of this set. Back set here for Palmer. Nice placement with some decent pace from Bakara Palmer.
Starting to see the Aussie strategy a little bit. You got it in the middle of the court, you're going to be swinging away. If not, we're going to put it out to the pins, and we're going to either chip it cross or go with the line over. But right now, they need to get a steal here to be able to threaten in this first set.
Futami cut it wide. Was there a touch? No, there wasn't. The Japanese seem adamant that there was. So that makes it a 1-point game here.
I didn't think I saw a touch, but
he was right in front of our head official, Jason Boyko, and he didn't see anything either. Palmer trying to find the back line, a little bit too deep, and Japan will come away with it, keeping that 2-point advantage.
And that's a tough one right now for Australia, and that just might be the nail in the coffin of this first set.
Hasegawa. This is for Palmer. Little tip there, and it's going to drop.
Nice little shot there from Palmer.
Switch sides here at 18-17. Really tight set here. Aussies though still need a steal of some kind. This is Bakara Palmer. Just got it over. Hasegawa battling there at the net with Laird. Hasegawa goes up again. It's going to be really tough to get back over, and it's just on the wrong side of the antenna. Did get into the net, or into the court, pardon me, but you got to keep it in between the sticks.
Got to add a little bit of spin to that ball. Was it Colton DeMann a few years ago playing for MRU who made it onto TSN, spinning the ball over in line with the antenna?
Just seemed to defy physics.
It did.
That was a nice kill from Bakara Palmer, keeping Australia alive, but again, they're going to need to snag a point on their serve here. Here's Nicole Laird. Hasegawa readjusted. Free ball for Japan. They're going to take it second time and place it perfectly into the corner. Akiko Hasegawa, another point, and it's a set point opportunity for Japan.
You see by Laird's reaction there that she wasn't too happy with that first touch of hers. Definitely let it down as a good opportunity there to get a steal, and she puts that first touch over the net. Japan ends up with the point.
An opportunity for the Aussies to stay alive here. They need this point as Japan is still on set point. Bakara Palmer will do the serving. And it goes into the net. A tough break for the Australian duo, and Japan will take set number one, 21-19. The score would indicate that it was fairly close, but it felt for the most part, Everett, that Japan was in control for the majority of that set.
Yeah, I don't know if they were completely in control, but it just seems like a bit of lack of something on the Australian courts, whether it's energy, whether it's, desire. I definitely don't think it's the desire. I definitely think they want to win, but there's something hasn't been clicking today for Australia.
Fortunately for them, you got a best of 3. You got to win 2 sets, so they're not out of it yet. They have an opportunity to rally back here. And like we mentioned, these two teams are no stranger to playing 3-set matches in this event. The Japanese pair, their first 4 games were all 3-setters until their semifinal loss last night. Meanwhile, the Australians have played 3 out of their 5 matches in 3 sets. So definitely some endurance, and no stranger to that 3rd set pressure as well.
Getting underway here in the second with Hasegawa.
Palmer just tips it over the block, and the Aussies will be on the board first here in set number 2.
Really want to see the Australians just kind of calm things down in the second set. Get back to basics, keep things simple, and execute.
Hasegawa, things really opened up at the last minute, and Hasegawa hammers it home.
Yeah, she was not taking any chances with that one, and hey, when in doubt, just hit it hard. Good things will happen.
This is Futami. Laird looked like she wanted to take it second time and then set up Palmer, and that one did just go long. It looked like the linesperson definitely had to think about that one. It was really close to us. I thought it was out, but
definitely agree with the out call.
And that one was a little bit further out from Palmer, so a couple of mistakes on the attacking game here as Japan in front, 3-1. So a lot of time left in the second set, though. Futami just clips the tape. It's still alive. It got over. Good scrambling defense by Australia. And once again, they keep it up only briefly. That one needed to get over, and it just didn't do it. Point for Japan. Nice round of applause from everyone in attendance. They appreciate the effort.
Great job by Bakara to get that ball up, just getting a hand underneath it. Fortunately, not underneath it enough to pop it up so that Laird could play it.
Futami serves, splits the middle, and finds the back line.
And that was a textbook hubby-wife, as you see both players looking at each other like, hey, who was supposed to pick up the kids?
You got it. I got it. No. Oh, okay. Hits the sand, and we have a timeout. 5-1 Japan, off to a really fast start here in set number 2 as they look to win the bronze medal here in Edmonton.
Australia just needs to find something to get going here.
Something's just not clicking. I'm not sure what it is, but it's just not working right at the moment.
It seems like maybe both Australian players are waiting for the other one to do something spectacular. So someone needs to just take control and kind of put the team on their back for a little bit and get this momentum going for them, because Japan is not going to hand it to them. And the way they've been playing, you know, they made a bunch of errors early in that first set, but then they tightened things up, and since then they've been real good.
It's a little bit different than the indoor game where there's 7 if you count the libero players rotating in and off the court, plus you have subs. In the beach game, it's just you and your partner. That's it. Nobody's coming to bail you out. Good swing there, though, from Palmer. Well dug up. Battle at the net. Hasegawa flying in, and I think Futami was trying to put that one over, just didn't get enough juice on it.
Great digs from Team Japan. Team switching sides. Laird back to
So another look at it here. You can see she just can't quite get enough as she's diving away to try to swing that one over. 5-2 Japan is the two duos switch sides, and it's Nicole Laird serving.
That was a great answer there by Australia coming out of that timeout, but that serve is just letting them down. Just like we saw with Rangari, you know, they make a play that could potentially start developing some momentum, and then serve into the net is just what kills it.
It's very hard to build momentum when you're giving the other team free points, that's for sure. Laird takes that second time and puts it long, but there was a touch, they say.
sometimes you need those bounces like that to go your way to get back into things.
Palmer serving for Australia. That one you could see the wind caught it and blew it wide. We had the perfect vantage point sitting right behind that ball. That's an ace serve for Futami, and no touch ace as that one hits the sand.
I'm not entirely sure if Palmer thought that one was out or if Laird had it or what the deal is, but definitely a difficult one for Australia to swallow right now. Is that 5-point lead, now 6-point lead for Japan.
Laird just couldn't get that one over the net there, and a little bit off balance, I think, which is why she probably didn't get what she wanted on that attack, as Japan has really opened things up here. 9-3 is the score in the second set. And there's a good little play there from Palmer, and you can hear a few of the fans trying to rally this Australian duo back into this one.
Yeah, Palmer just getting it on the outside there and not trying to do too much, just rolling it into the open court.
Laird serving. Almost slicing away from Futami. Had a little bit of trouble with it, and that's a big stuff from Bakara Palmer.
Interestingly enough, they split the blockers there, and Nikki Laird is usually the blocker, but after that serve, they opted to have her stay back and play defense, and it's Palmer who gets the block.
9-5, two teams switch sides. It will still be Nicole Laird serving. Taking that second time was Palmer. It's going to bounce over, and another chance for Australia here with Laird, who just tips it around the block. So the Aussies have put together a decent string here, and the score looks a little bit better now, 9-6.
Starting to build a little bit of momentum here. If the Aussies pick up this next point, I'd look to see Japan take a timeout and just settle things down.
Futami hammers it, and it finds the back line. That's a big point for Japan. They definitely needed that one.
Absolutely, and no need for a timeout when you can hammer a ball down like that.
Here's Akiko Hasegawa, 33 years old. Well, that one hung on the net for about a second before falling on the Japanese side. It's still alive. Australia with an opportunity. Hasegawa goes up, and that's going to be into open space.
Such good patience once again from Hasegawa as she lets that ball drift to her right shoulder, opening up that line shot. She goes thumb down on that one, puts it right in the corner.
Palmer will wipe that one off of Futami's hands and out of bounds. A good smart play there from Bakara Palmer.
Simple plays like that is what's going to help keep Australia in this game, and if they can stay close towards the end of the set, then they definitely have a chance to take it and force a third.
There's still a 4-point lead at the moment for Japan, 11-7. Hasegawa going cross court. Both the Australian players kind of got in a line there, left a lot of space for Akiko Hasegawa. Palmer cut that one, and it's a good spot there. Australia gets another point, cuts it back to 12-8.
Right now, Japan is probably just thinking about keeping their side-out game on point. If they can do that and then force a couple of errors from Australia, they're going to have this one wrapped up very shortly and have that bronze medal secured.
Hasegawa has the specs cleared off, and she's going to take this one second time, but well read by Laird. Now she gets a swing of her own, and that is straight down, sharp cross court from Nicole Laird.
That's the type of swing that could start building some really good momentum right now for Australia, which is not what you want if you're this Japanese pair. As you see Hasegawa just kind of give a high five to her partner Futami as they head under the umbrella. It's like, hey, let's just settle things down let's get things going again.
Technical timeout here, 12-9 the score. The Japanese duo of Hasegawa and Futami in front of the Australian pair of Laird and Palmer.
Already getting some cheers for Team Canada here.
People are excited. We talked about how there has yet to be a male beach volleyball duo win a gold medal in a FIVB World Tour stop on Canadian sand. The Canadian women, they haven't won a medal at all in a Canadian stop, so we're going to see that streak come to an end. Of course, it's the world champions, Pavan and Melissa, who will look to make it a gold medal. We could see a Canadian sweep here, and that will be very exciting for the hometown fans. Still work to do before we get there, though. We got to figure out who's going to win the women's bronze medal. Futami wins that battle at the net, throws it down.
13-9 for Japan right now.
They're just maintaining that 3 to 4 point buffer. The Aussies have had a tough time cutting into it. That'll certainly help from Nicole Laird. Lots of room down the line, and she took full advantage.
Yeah, Futami jumps into the cross while Hasegawa was just chilling in the back row, given so much real estate for Nicole Laird to swing at.
Well, that one changed, and give the Japanese a lot of credit for at least getting it over, but unfortunately they can't keep it in play. Good service pressure there from Bakara Palmer. Maybe a little bit fortunate to get the clip of the tape, but she'll take it.
The dribbler, if you could teach that serve, you would probably lead any league in aces.
Hasegawa readjusts, but it goes just a smidge long. And the Aussies are within one now at 13-12.
And just like that, down by 4, now only down by 1, and Japan is going to be forced to take a timeout. As Australia hasn't, they've put some pressure on, but those errors from Japan have really killed them.
A lot of volleyball too, you notice, you watch enough of it, and it seems that the team that plays the cleanest is typically the team that comes out on top. Not always the case, but seems to be what drives your momentum at least.
Yep, absolutely.
Volunteers out there raking the sand. Important to keep that sand fairly loose. You don't want it to clump up with the players constantly running around on it. And then, of course, always important to make sure the sand around the tape is nice and flat so you can see any divots for controversial in or out calls.
Also just important to keep it from digging out in the middle. Generally, that's what we see as that's where the most of the game played.
Even it out.
Yeah, you got to even it out and keep it as even as possible, but that's also a reason why we switch sides every 7 points.
Palmer gets us back underway. Hasegawa goes up, caught the tape, and it does find the corner. A big point for Japan, one they needed, and a good one to come out of the timeout with.
Absolutely. You know what? Whenever you're coming out of timeout, the last thing you want to do is commit an error. But what you really want to do is just keep things simple and make sure you get that point.
That one just danced along the tape and then fell on the Japanese side for a point. Bakara Palmer.
Just a nice little cut shot as she rolls that one along the net.
Still just a 1 point game here. Japan in front, 14-13. That one is just long from Japan, and we've reached the side switch, tied at 14.
Not too long ago, Japan was leading by 4, 13-11, and this switch has really brought some life to this Australian pair as they've got their eyes on a third set.
If you want to go back further, it was 9-3 at one point for Japan. Australians have fought all the way back. Futami puts that one away over top of the block.
Good answer there by Futami to still keep the advantage here.
Akiko Hasegawa. Big block from Futami. Palmer tried to go cross court. Futami was all over it.
You know what, that just goes to show that it's not necessarily how big your block is, but you just need to stay solid up there. Futami, definitely not the biggest blocker, even in terms of Bakara Palmer, but she presses well, takes away that space.
Is that one in? It is. What a play. Give Palmer a ton of credit for keeping that ball up and giving Laird a chance to swing at it. The Japanese players don't agree with the call, but we talked about it before. You're not going to change the official's mind once they've already made it.
Especially with Jason Boyko sitting right there.
Yeah, it was right in front of him. He's not going to make a mistake there. Hasegawa goes up and manages to muscle it through the block of Laird that time.
You know, it's funny, the biggest player on the court has yet to get a big block, and that's Nikki Laird, and that's exactly, if you're an Australian fan, you need to see her come alive at the net somehow.
Laird at 6'3", 3 inches taller than her partner. Both of the Japanese players are listed under 6 feet, although Futami's 5'11", so pretty close. That one's deep. Hasegawa is able to play it. Now she gets a attack of her own, and well-placed shot from Akiko Hasegawa, who just seems to be so smart when she goes up to attack the volleyball.
You know what, coming from a coach's perspective, I really like Nikki Laird to identify her hitter, because right now it seems like that ball is drifting on the outside of her. It's really creating that space for Hasegawa to go down that line, and she's having to reach instead of just being straight up on that.
Palmer goes down the line to pick up a point. Australia within 2 here, 18-16. Japan opened up a bit of a lead, that ever so important 2-point cushion. Hasegawa goes up, and this time using the power to go cross court, finding that corner.
Just missing the outstretched arms of Nikki Laird there as Hasegawa just drives that one to the back corner.
19-16. And it will be Hasegawa serving.
Such a good answer there from Japan after Australia tied it up, and that's a dirty set by Nicole Laird, and that is going to bring us to bronze medal point.
I think that's the first in both the semis and the medal matches, the first real set call that we've seen. I know some of the players in the other matches were complaining about them not getting the calls, but we have one here, and Japan is on the cusp of taking home the bronze medal, but that one is going to be off the block and off the antenna. And in volleyball, as soon as the ball hits the antenna, it is a dead ball, considered out of bounds. 20-17, the Japanese with an opportunity once again to pick up the bronze medal here, and they'll have the first attack. Futami goes up, chips it down, and it falls to the sand. Team Japan, Akiko Hasegawa, Azusa Futami win the bronze medal here in Edmonton.
You know, what a great answer from them. Both times we saw the Australians start to push, they answered nicely, simplified things, and got the job done. So great job by this Japanese pair of Hasegawa and Futami to bounce back after a loss last night to Mel and Sarah and take home the bronze medal.
For Hasegawa and Futami as a pair, it's only their second medal together. Of course, they won silver at an event back in 2017. So it's been a little while since they've been on the podium, and they are very excited, and they definitely deserve to be as well. Nicole Laird and Bakara Palmer, this is a good result for them as well. They've played 9 tournaments together, and aside from the win, they hadn't finished higher than 19th, so they'll be quite happy with this result as well.
And what event is that going to be?
So a pretty good tournament here for both these teams.
Next event for the Olympics, is that correct?
The Japanese players getting interviewed here at center court there,
All right, these ladies, up next
getting to go home,
next event for Tokyo.
getting excited because obviously the Olympics are going to be in Tokyo in 2020. They're having an Olympic test event there next weekend, so very exciting for these ladies, and they'll definitely be riding some momentum going into that one as well.
Absolutely. The Tokyo 4-star going down next week is the next 2 tournaments on the schedule. You've got the 4-star next week in Tokyo, and then the 5-star the week after that in Vienna, as we're getting down to the nitty-gritty part here of the World Tour season.
Lots of points on the line for sure. Well, now we're getting ready for the Canadians to take the court. It's going to be the men's gold medal match starting at 3 o'clock local time. That's in about 21 minutes from now. Saxton and O'Gorman taking on the Swiss pair of Beeler and Kradiger. So definitely stay tuned for that one. Check it out. It should be very entertaining. We're going to take a break, and we'll be right back from Edmonton, the FIVB Beach Volleyball World Tour 3-star stop.
Who's doing an exceptional job, by the way. Thank you, DJ Chad, cooking up some beats. He's going to start playing